for the reconstruction of Gaza, and that other members of his new Board of Peace have pledged $7 billion. He made the announcement at the opening meeting of that Board of Peace in Washington. It is a body, though, which many of the US's Western allies have refused to join. The US Secretary of State, however, said there was no plan B for Gaza other than the Board of Peace. So let's speak to the former US Ambassador Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley, now a distinguished fellow at the Atlantic Council. Welcome back to the programme. What do you see as the most significant developments from this first meeting of the Board of Peace?
Thank you so much for having me. Well, the most important thing is that there is a Board of Peace, and we have to give President Trump full credit for that. He got people around the table or sitting in a row, as it were, and making concrete pledges of resources, of money for reconstruction, of security forces to help keep the peace between Gaza and Israel, and a focus that hopefully will lead to that eventual Palestinian state. There are many hurdles in front of it, but he did get people together, and no one else, not the United Nations and not any other group of nations, could do that.
But there weren't many, if any, Palestinian voices being heard.
Well, that's a major problem. Nothing about us without us. Any group of sentient adults wants to be part of decision making when it comes to their futures. And it was striking that there were no Palestinian speakers today. We had Israeli speakers, we had others from the region and around the world, and yet the Palestinian people who must have full voices in their own future were not there.
Doesn't that then almost invalidate the entire Board of Peace itself in terms of its work in Gaza?
It is a heavy, heavy burden to shift. And those who are genuinely committed to a Palestinian future that is not under an Israeli occupation, Palestinian self-determination, got there in the room, but that is just the first step. They are going to have to make sure that the Board of Peace includes Palestinians on the ground in the day-to-day decisions over their lives. The ISF, what is it going to do? There are many questions outstanding. What is the ISF going to do?
Protect the security force.
Yes, the International Security Forces. Protect Palestinians from future Israeli strikes, or help the Israelis impose occupation on Palestinians. We know that the government of Israel has not complied with that 20-point peace plan in several integral ways. Number one, allowing full aid into the Gaza Strip, absolutely stopping all military action. That was point number 3 in the 20-point plan. No aerial bombing, no artillery bombardment, and yet there are over 600 dead Palestinians since the ceasefire started. So that cajoling or pressure that needs to take place on the Israelis just as much as it will need to take place on Hamas has got to be done.
What about the broader critique that you've heard from some of the US's Western allies, that the Board of Peace, and from others too, that the Board of Peace in essence is set up to bypass or oversee almost the United Nations? Is that a valid concern?
It is a concern, but it would be hard to see the nations that are involved. They are a minority of nations, and they are missing some of the most influential in the world, and that, of course, is Europe. It would be hard to see how they might be able to do that. But the president is right. The United Nations has failed repeatedly to get that war in Gaza to stop. And so he's right that they couldn't do it, and he is the one that pulled together people to get the Israelis to do it. So that is a reality, and the United Nations has been in bad need of reform for decades. We talk about it every year. When I was posted to the United Nations, 15 years ago, we talked about it, and they're still talking about it without effective reform that is needed to make that body work.
Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley, thank you very much indeed, a former US ambassador and now a distinguished fellow at the Atlantic Council.
Thank you.
Let's get to sports news now with